up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a bookshelf tour for you. I'm super pumped for this video. I've been doing YouTube for a couple of months now and realized I hadn't filmed this style of video yet. So I'm gonna take you through my bookshelf. I've got some overflowing onto the dresser over here that I'll get to eventually as well. The way that I've organized my books, the ones that will fit on here anyway, is kind of by color. So as it stands right now, I have 81 books to my name. 81? Is that what I said? No. At my highest count a couple of years ago, I had over 200. I think it was like 223. And it just kind of made me sad to have that many books because they were just kind of sitting around collecting dust, shoved into the closet because I didn't have space on my shelves at the time. And I just kind of realized I want to get rid of a whole bunch. I donated so many, I sold a whole bunch of them on like Amazon Marketplace and eBay, and I vowed to kind of own a much smaller, manageable amount. But yeah, I'm gonna go through each one. I'm gonna try to be brief so that this video isn't like an hour long, so let's get into it. All right, my dudes, so we're gonna start up here at the top. This little shelf has all the yellow books. Yeah, because those were the fewest number that I had. So let's just start. Word Slut by Amanda Montell. I have not read this, but am very excited for it because I have read Cultish, and it was very good. So eventually I will get around to reading this one. Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century by Kim Fu. I have read this one recently. It's short stories. Definitely recommend. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars. Kind of different, and if you're wanting to read, I think I can't remember if she's Japanese. I don't know, I tried to switch up and not just read like American authors all the time. Then we have The Pisces by Melissa Broder. OMG, this is one of my favorite books. It's a 5 stars. All I'm gonna say is like merman sex. That's all I'm gonna say because that's all I need to say. Then we have The Removed by Brandon Hobson. I have not read this one yet, but it's Native American lore, I think. They're like going to a powwow and then something happens and it has to do with like dreams or like the spirit world. I don't know. You guys can pause on the description of that. Then we have A Room Called Earth by Madeline Ryan. I flippin' loved this one. The main character is autistic, and I think is she unnamed? I don't think she has a name throughout the whole thing. It only takes place over the course of like a day or two. I really liked that one. And then I have not read this Vandermeer, City of Saints and Madmen. It's a series. I don't know if you noticed, but I faced out all of those books from that series just because I'm obsessed with those covers. I want to say those are the UK covers because I remember they were kind of difficult to get. I asked for them for like Christmas or my birthday or something from, I think my mom bought me one or two and then my boyfriend bought me the other ones, and they like took a long time to come in. It was like a whole thing because they didn't arrive on time. So anyway, those are, I think, the Pan editions. If you specifically want those covers. I'm obsessed with these covers. Then we have Picture of Guillermo, looking so cute. So the second shelf is the pink shelf. We have Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Really liked this. Super slim little novel. I have a whole, reading vlog that I can link right here in the cards if you guys are interested in that one. Then My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. Love her, loved this. This is sort of the depressed millennial woman trope, but I don't know, I really liked it. The Idiot by, I never know how to say her name, Elif Batuman. I wasn't as obsessed with this one. It's supposed to be like a comedy, and I think some of the humor was just a little bit, it felt kind of flat for me. It was like a little bit dry. So anyway, Cultish, mentioned that one, another Amanda Montell. It's so insane to me, like she's so young and she's accomplished so much, and this is phenomenal. It definitely changed the way I think about beauty brands and just this idea of like exclusivity. It's one of those books that actually makes you think and question things, which is really refreshing. It's nonfiction. Then The Divines by Ellie Eaton. Have not read this one yet. I want to say this might have sort of dark academia vibe to it because it takes place at a school. It's like a flashback to like a group of sort of mean girls at this school. I will probably read this in the autumn. The School for Good Mothers by Jasmine Chan. I have a reading vlog on this one as well. This one has a slight sci-fi bent to it, so of course it was right up my alley. There's like robot children, like robot, I don't want to ruin too much. They're like living dolls sort of. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's set in the future. It's kind of like 1984 vibes a little bit. Disorientation, I'm really excited for. This one, I want to say it follows a girl in her freshman year of college. So I'm gonna wait until like August, September, like the time when people are going back to school to start this one, I think. Also, I'm realizing I probably should have dusted before this video because OMG, I can see it like flying around in the air, so apologies for that. Moving down to now the third shelf. This is sort of like the orange shelf, I guess you could say. So the other Jeff Vandermeer that I already mentioned, 2 Don Miguel Ruiz books. These are like super famous. I mean, you guys have probably heard of these, but he wrote The Four Agreements. This one right here literally made me cry at the end, like happy tears. Happy to Be Alive, really beautiful book, highly recommend that one. It's like Toltec wisdom, like Native American proverbs and stuff, if you guys have never heard of these. I haven't dived into this one yet. It's like a companion book to The Four Agreements. I'm actually not totally sure what that means exactly. Anyway, I think you can find these honestly pretty cheap now. And then starting back here, this is I think Ira Levin, is that how you say his name? This Perfect Day. I read, what's that real famous one that he wrote? Oh, The Stepford Wives, yeah. Anyway, loved The Stepford Wives, and so I picked this up at maybe off eBay. I don't remember. It mentions 1984, and that's my favorite book, so picked that one up. Haven't read it yet. Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, absolutely fabulous, amazing. Like, run to the store and get your hands on this. It is another kind of like this, like self-help type book. A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. This is a sequel to A Psalm for the Wild Built, which is honestly one of my favorite science fiction books of all time. They're so slim. Like yeah, whenever this video goes up, I will probably have already like read it, and we'll have a like a reading blog if you guys want to know more about it. They're like soft sci-fi, monks, robots. Not gonna say anymore, but highly recommend these if you're into science fiction. How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days by K.M. Jackson. I started this, like, boyfriend and I were at the lake or something, and that night I read a couple chapters and then completely forgot all about it. I'm not a big romance fan, but I am kind of obsessed with Keanu Reeves, so I need to read this at some point. Must Love Books by Shauna Robinson. This one's really cute. I think the main character works for like a publisher or like a literary agency or something like that. Another copy of A New Earth. I should probably put them together actually. I can't remember. I was gonna give this to somebody, maybe my boyfriend. I think I was gonna gift it to somebody and then I didn't for whatever reason. So this one will be, eventually I'll gift this to somebody because that's how amazing that book is. I feel like everybody needs to read it. Tell the Machine Goodnight by Katie Williams is another really good sci-fi. I want to say there's a machine that it's like just a tiny little, almost looks like an external hard drive or something. That's kind of how I pictured it. And it can predict things that you should do that will make you happier, like kind of like an algorithm. And it could be something really simple, or it could be something really complicated. I wasn't obsessed with it, but it's pretty good. I want to say maybe like a 4 out of 5 stars. So it's kind of like something you could easily imagine happening in the future. So that one was really cool. Circe by Madeline Miller. I know I need to read it. It's one of those books like every booktuber talks about. I will get around to it eventually. I don't know a lot about mythology, and so I think that's probably why I've been like procrastinating on it a little bit. But it looks like a really pretty cover, like for the fall. Sometimes I'll read a book honestly just based off the cover and like the vibe that it gives me. So I will attempt to read that this year. Then we have Luster by Raven Leilani. This is phenomenal. I am like, this is the type of book, like as a writer, you're jealous of the writing because it's so good. You're like, wow, like yeah, I can't even, 5 stars, like instantly. Within the first couple of chapters, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. So the main character is black and she ends up having an affair with like a white man and like showing up at his house, and he's got like a mixed daughter, or she's adopted, I think, and she's black, and so it's kind of like about their relationship and their affair, but also the relationship that she has with the daughter. I thought it was awesome. High Tide in Tucson by Barbara Kingsolver. This is one I picked up from a little free library in New Mexico when I was in New Mexico last summer. Haven't read it yet. And then The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent, that's one of those Abraham, like Teaching of Abraham's books. I have read that one. It's been a minute, and I was actually just thinking to myself earlier that I really need to read more of those Abraham books. There's one on money that I really want to read that I don't own, and there's another couple of them that are going to come up here in a few minutes. It's like self-help, but it's a little bit more like woo-woo, kind of spiritual, so I know they're a little weird, but I highly recommend all of those books. All right, moving down from that shelf, so we're on the 4th shelf. This is, I guess, the red shelf. So we have I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness by Claire Vaye Watkins. I have read her before. I read Gold Fame Citrus, which was decent. I think I'm gonna like this one actually a lot more. I wanna say it's about a mom who like just kind of up and leaves her life. She's got like a daughter and a husband, and she needs to like recalibrate, get away, that sort of thing. You guys can pause on the screen if you wanna know what that one's all about. Behind it, we have one of those like unofficial guides. This one's a Janis Joplin one, The Queen of Psychedelic Rock. I kind of just got it for the pictures. I haven't read through that or anything. Then we have Shit Cassandra Saw by Gwen E. Kirby. This one sounds so stinking cool. You guys pause the screen and then read that. Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. I took it with me to Colorado, but ended up like we were just like so busy doing stuff that I didn't actually read when we were in Colorado. But it sounds really cool and feminist and amazing. Then we have Dead Astronauts by Jeff Vandermeer. This is just, you know, I feel like he doesn't even need an introduction. He's just like wacky, and says a darkly transcendent novel filled with phantasmagoric visions. He is basically considered the king of like weird science fiction. So there's that. A Questionable Shape by Bennett Sims. This is one from $2 Radio. If you guys recognize this, it's like a small family-owned publishing house. I don't even remember why I picked this one up. Like, I genuinely don't remember what this one's about. Zombies? Oh, okay. Yeah, zombies. So there's that one. Then, of course, I have a copy of 1984 by George Orwell, my favorite book. I feel like it needs no introduction, but I will let you pause the screen if you want to read about it. Then Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I am not a fan of all of Palahniuk's stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit too weird, too out there, too left of center, but Fight Club is his first. It was his debut. It's just everything and more that people say that it is. And then obviously the film with Brad Pitt and Edward Norton is incredible. Next, we have The Prince of Los Cucoyos by Richard Blanco. This is a memoir. I remember he came to my university and I missed out on it. I don't remember why. I think I left my book in a classroom, and so I didn't have it for him to sign. But one of my professors was very kind, and I want to say, and he took my book to have it signed. Love, Cry, Laugh, to Brandy. Anyway, that's his signature. So that's one of my very few signed books. I don't own very many that are signed, but this is really good. It's so it's growing up, him in Miami, his family immigrated from Cuba, and like growing up gay in America and trying to, you know, figure out who he is and learn what life's like in America for a Latino. Very, very good. I remember loving that one. Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is about a mom who basically starts turning into a dog, or does she? It's one of those, it's like, is it a metaphor? Is it like, are we supposed to take it literally? I remember liking this one. Skyward In by Elia Whiteley. I have not read this one yet, but I am obsessed with her. There's a book over on my dresser I'll mention to you guys in a minute that's like my absolute favorite by her. And I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot that I owned this. What is it? FKA USA by Reed King. I genuinely don't remember buying this. Apocalyptic political satire. That cover is like really cool. It reminds me of what's that real famous other one that looks kind of like that? I'll put it on the screen. You guys can pause on the screen if you want to read what that one's about. Literally don't even remember. I just probably saw that it was sci-fi and looked really cool, so I bought it. And then the final shelf down here, this is like the blue shelf. I'm just gonna move my sand. This was that other Vandermeer book that I've mentioned. And then in the back here, let's start. Oh, I do have a copy of The Stepford Wives. Oh my gosh. It was just back here and I forgot I had it. How freaking cool is this cover. I want to say this is like probably not actually like a first edition, but let's see. Copyright 1972. Okay, printed in 1973. So actually, yes, this is like very old, like genuinely vintage. How freaking cool. I love this. If you haven't read this or seen any of the films and you don't know the twist, I recommend that one. Then a random, like old vintage sci-fi. I think I tried to even repair this one up here with like a box of crackers. This sounds really cool. It's about like the first murder on the moon. Like obviously science fiction. Oh yeah, and it takes place in 2084, which my first novel that I wrote takes place in 2084. So that may have partly been why I bought that one. This is an advanced reader copy of a book that's actually been out for a while. It was free from Magic City Books because I bought something else, and so I'll probably just use this in my classroom. The Only Ones by Carola DeBell is another $2 radio book who I am obsessed with. Like sci-fi, let me see if I can give you another little blurb. There you go, if you guys are interested in that one. Quiet by Susan Cain. This is like The Power of Introverts. Haven't read it yet, but I'm definitely introverted, so I just feel like this might, I don't know, make me feel some kind of way. The Long and Far Away Gone. This is, Lou Berney is actually a local author. He's from Oklahoma, like me. And he came to speak at my school as well, so I'll give you a little blurb there. And then I want to say this one is signed too. And I had talked to him about outlining, so he said good luck with outlining. I don't remember what his advice was, but then Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Literally only bought this because of Kat from Paperback Dreams. Haven't read it, don't even really plan on it anytime soon, but BookTube made me do it. And then The Law of Attraction and The Vortex by Jerry and Esther Hicks. Those, again, are two, like I mentioned before with, what other one was I talking about? The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent. These are really good. It's so hard to like describe them, but I do recommend them. All right, and then moving on to the front stack, we have Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck. I have read Steinbeck before. He's probably, in my mind, like sort of the quintessential American author. We were gonna read this, boyfriend and I, were gonna read this in the car on the way to Colorado, and that didn't happen. We ended up just like talking and playing games and stuff instead. Esperanza Rising. I loved this one as a kid. It is so beautiful, the story. It's like a, what does it say? Riches to Rags. I loved it. This is one of those books that really like got me into reading as a kid. You Don't Know Everything, Julie P. is another middle grade book. This is about growing up Black in America and disabilities because he's deaf, or I think partially deaf. And this was like the first book that I taught to a classroom, so I keep that kind of just for sentimental reasons. Normal People by Sally Rooney. I really need to watch the show because I really did like this. I know this kind of gets mixed reviews, but I really loved it. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason was another one that I really loved. Again, it's kind of that like sad millennial female trope, but it's done really well. It's really beautiful. Beautiful Losers by Leonard Cohen. This went way over my head. It was just a book that my boyfriend bought me, so again, I'm just kind of holding on to it for sentimental reasons. Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. This I've also picked up, I think, at the same little free library that I picked up that Barbara Kingsolver book in New Mexico. Haven't read it yet. This one, Star Creek by Nathan Carson. I don't remember how this book came into my life. I want to say... who recommended this to me? It's so wacky and weird. Takes place in the 80s. Yeah, it's one of those like smaller, like I think maybe even self-published books. So weird and wonderful. Highly recommend this one. The Gifts of Imperfection. I want to get into Brené Brown, like reading her actual books because I've listened to her talks before and they're really good, but I haven't actually read this one. Our Wives Under the Sea. I'm not even going to talk about this one. It's a 5 out of 5. It's one of my favorites of 2022. I will link up in the cards the number of videos that I have mentioned this book, so that I don't have to talk about it again. Becoming Supernatural. I don't know how I feel about this one. There's a lot of things that people have said about this book, and I don't know. I'm probably just gonna have to start reading it myself and see what I think, but haven't read that one yet. And then The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I am obsessed with The Secret History is so good. It's like basically the only dark academia book in my mind that matters. It's incredibly well written. It's very dark, you know, murder takes place at a university or like private school or whatever. Highly recommend The Secret History. Haven't read The Goldfinch. I've heard that it's also pretty sad. And I also haven't seen the movie, but it won a Pulitzer, so maybe I'll read it this autumn. All right, and then coming over to the dresser. So this is like the overflow. I've tried to kind of decorate it in a way to make it look really cute, but this is part of the reason why I want to update my shelf to begin with, is because I think I want the dresser to be able to just be nice and clean and kind of more minimal. So what I have over here, some sand from Black Mesa National Park, some dried flowers, a rock from Natural Springs State Park, a little incense holder. This is just my journal. I can link this. I got it off Etsy if you guys are interested in bullet journaling. But as far as books go, we have Ottessa Moshfegh's Homesick for Another World. She is the one who wrote My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I haven't read this, but I picked it up because I really liked her other book. Then we have a Kerouac. This is Visions of Cody. I've held on to it because I did really like On the Road. I don't remember what this one is about. The Beatniks are a very particular writing style. And sometimes I love it, and sometimes it drives me mad because of the way, see, there's like no paragraphing. Yeah, it kind of drives me insane sometimes. So I have to be in a particular mood to read those. Then When God Was a Woman by Merlin Stone. This one sounds really fascinating. I'll let you guys read that. Hunter S. Thompson's The Last Interview. I'm obsessed with these. This is the only one I own, but just this concept, I want to get more of these Last Interview books. It's like a whole series. I've only read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I know he has a lot of other books. Very interested to read this at some point. Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. This is one of those I haven't gotten around to yet. I've read a lot of the like more popular race books. This one I have not read yet. And then How Not to Die by Michael Greger. This is a huge, absolutely insane, like, book about health, basically, and about anything that you'd want to know. Each chapter focuses on how not to die from, like, a specific disease. Then moving up from the bottom, this is Dr. Michael Greger's cookbook that kind of goes along with that one. If We Were Villains, this I have not read yet. It's one of those like dark academia ones that I will read. I will attempt to read this autumn. Vita Nostra, again, dark academia. So good, 5 out of 5. It's so unique. It's so incredible. Highly recommend that one. We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, and then also The Final Girl Support Group. I have read this one and I liked. Haven't read this one yet. I am going to attempt to get to this one this autumn time when the weather starts to get dark and cold, and I'm in the mood for something spooky because he's a horror author. Women Who Run with the Wolves is one that I have read like the first couple chapters out of. I pick it up every couple of months and I'll read like one chapter. This is not the type of book that I would sit down and read like in one go. It looks like that post-it note is probably marking my spot. And then Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I'm so pumped to get into this one. It's one of those I just keep forgetting about. It's sci-fi, but like Native American, like pre-Columbian sci-fi. I don't know. It sounds really amazing. So I need to prioritize this one. The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. I feel like this is one of those books that's probably going to be pretty controversial. I will just let you guys read what it is about there. Basically, psychedelics and how they have influenced religion. And Woman Eating by Claire Coda. I just finished this. I should have done a reading vlog on this. It's so good. One of my favorites. It's about vampires. But like contemporary vampires. It's like a mother-daughter. See, she even references Buffy, which is just right up my street. But a mother-daughter like vampire novel. Gave that like a 5 out of 5. And then the last little stack, Richest Man in Babylon. This is a finance book. It's been around since like the 20s. The Beauty by Elia Whiteley. So if you guys remembered me saying something earlier about this one right here, Skyward Inn. So this author, this has to be like my favorite, ooh, dusty, body horror book. I don't want to give away too much. All I'll say is like Walking Mushroom Women. Very good. So glad I found that. The Loosening Skin is another one by Elia Whiteley. I wasn't as obsessed with this one as The Beauty, but it's still very good. This one is set in a world where you shed your skin, and I think the main character has some sort of condition or some sort of disease. Yeah, she molts quickly, changing everything about her life, who she is, who she loves, and who she trusts. I liked that one. The Deloriad was so wacky and so weird. It's about incest, and it's like set in sort of like post-apocalyptic time period. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It is very good. A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers. I haven't read this one yet. This one looks kind of like one that I'll probably wait until autumn to read. Is it about vampires? No. This one is like sex and food, something like that, and like their interplay with each other. I'm just obsessed with the cover. Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. This is semi-autobiographical, and then part like commentary, like social commentary. That was a 5 out of 5 for sure. American Psycho, I have not read. I will get around to it at some point. Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi. I have read this one. I wasn't obsessed with it. It's one of those kind of quiet novels, but it takes place in India, which is really cool. Snakeskins is another one that kind of has to do with like shedding your skin. This one, I think it's Clones. Yeah, you guys can read the back. I really liked this one. I would probably reread this one, and I rarely reread books. And then we have one of those like compendium type books. I think my brother was getting rid of this. He had it in a Goodwill donation bag, and I was like, up, hold on, let me take that. Haven't read anything in it, but I know that these are always really good. And then last but not least, I recently picked this one up from West Side Stories in Colorado. It's just a used bookstore in Colorado Springs. It was just like on the bottom shelf, kind of in shadow. And we were just in Santa Fe last summer, boyfriend and I. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is all about like interior design and, well, the exteriors and like how the adobe structures are made, but then also like the interior design. I'm just, I'm obsessed with it. All right, guys, that is it. That's every single book. If you made it this long, congratulations, you deserve an award. You guys let me know what kind of setup you think would be cute. Like, I'll put my Instagram in the description. And send me links for cute bookshelves. Definitely wooden. I'm not opposed to another corner bookshelf. If you guys have cute shelves and you want to share that with me, I am all ears, because I have no idea what I want to do yet or what I want it to look like. So send me your ideas. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.